as his helmet popped off, which is still being checked out as to how exactly that happened. He was grappled from the rear side, and the axe just cut open the crown of his head. But anyway, we do move on to White Company versus ACG. So you can already see rapid movement of ACG running to the rear ranks of the White Company. This is good fighting from both teams, very evenly matched at the moment. There's looks to be a weapon change there. This is good work from Armour Combat Gloucester. However, they are being hunted down, and already you have an ACG fighter who's going down. There are two now down, and that's some good work. Oh, superb takedown from White Company. And the ACG speed has been their downfall. Now is all White Company hammering into the ACG fighters, who started off really well and are very well coordinated. And that is the end of the fight. So White Company have a clean sweep in that first round victory. Well, although it did finish 5 fighters to 0 at the end, you have to say that in the early stages of that, ACG had a good hold on White Company, and they were breaking right through their ranks. So the movement was there, coordination perhaps needed a little bit of work. I think they used a little bit too much movement towards the end there, leaving themselves exposed.
Iska and Primus prepare. Iska and Primus prepare.
So the marshal satisfied that the next round can get underway. And you can see the way that ACG are poised, that they're going to be looking for a rapid start again, and they go charging into White Company. And already there are 2 of them down, so that is a negative start for both teams there. The marshal quite rightly downing the White Company fighters. Great movement from both teams, however, moving very rapidly in separate clinches, and one White Company fighter trying to get away to help his teammate. That's a good takedown there on the side. Some team working up now, some good grappling. Very nice movement, hacking into the back of the ACG fighter. Good leg strikes there. Looking to get, sort of following round all the way. Looking to get some of those leg sweeps, but that's another good takedown to the back. ACG now in some trouble, although there are a couple of White Company fighters down as well. So it seems they've gone down at the same time. That's a great takedown. And that is called for the end of the second round. Not the clean round that White Company were looking for, but ACG held on well. So one team who is missing in the proceedings today, of course, is the Three Towers, the relatively new team heading from Scotland. And in the last tournament in November in the United Kingdom, they made quite an impression. They'll be absent today, sadly. Hopefully we'll be seeing more of them in the near future. Here we have a nice aggressive start from Invicta, who go straight in, but they are hounded by ACG. Gloucester fighters choosing their opponents carefully. There's some interesting positioning going from the Invicta fighters, perhaps a little bit loose. They need to close up a bit. And you can see there's just these gaps from the Invicta fighters. Now charges it in, and he gets way too loose there and puts himself in a dangerous position, as none of his teammates can actually get to him, so he's out on his own there. That said, the Gloucester fighter comes in. They do a good switch. So it's nice movement there from Gloucester. Again, you have to admire the Gloucester running game. Good positions there, but that's a great takedown there for Invicta. So an ACG fighter down. Oh, this is still pretty even. There's a good takedown, however. That's another Invicta fighter down. The kick comes in as he's met with his charge. Oh, it's a very nice hip toss. Doesn't quite make it somehow, and I'll never know how. The ACG fighter managed to stay on his feet. That was very impressive defensive work. But it had not worked this time. Invicta have another takedown. And now we see they have an advantage. And that is it. That is called. So that was a very, very entertaining round between Invicta and Armored Combat Gloucester. And he saw the early advantage go to ACG. But then Invicta, with some very impressive takedowns, managed to come right back into it. Well, clearly these teams are very evenly matched. And I think we're going to see quite an electric second round between these two. Of course, it's good to see the development of teams when they get stronger and stronger, so you get these much closer fights. Marshall ready for the next round of Invicta against Armored Combat Gloucester. So, a more tentative start from Armored Combat Gloucester. It's already some nice movement, and however, he's pounded right down into the corner, and that might prove costly. But it's a lot of aggression from these Invicta fighters who are getting stuck right in very, very close clinches. It's a double takedown there. So they are, some fighters grounded, some of them stuck to each other. So movement coming in again. The charge in came to nothing. What they need to do is go in from a lower attack, put the weapon over the helmet, and then take the fighter down. However, it has worked. Invicta now with a big advantage. So, the strikes coming down to the... that's a nice charge, but unfortunately, due to the size of these fighters, it's going to be very difficult to come in like that. ACG in all kinds of difficulty now. And that is close to the takedown, and there it is. Very, very impressive work from Invicta. Well matched, and there were some good charges at certain points. And I thought, but in any case, now we get underway with Primus against ACG. Primus showing a bit more caution here, as well as ACG actually. They are not adopting the same rapid approach that they did in their previous fight. And still some nice movement there, looking for the openings, and that's a great takedown. Very impressive there from Armored Combat Gloucester. And that's an impressive takedown. Primus, a lot of strength coming through there. There's the charge. Here it comes through. Goes straight against this. Again, a little bit of a waste of a movement, but they do have a good grip on that big fighter, which they will need if they can force them through. However, they're forced back. That's good evasive action from the Primus fighter. And now that Gloucester fighter in all kinds of difficulty. However, he's on the right side of the fighters. If the captain can manage to get that arm straight, and that's it. It's a nice takedown there, which leaves the Primus and Gloucester Fighter still going. The two, of course, below them having gone out of the list already. And really at full stretch, these Primus Fighters. And it's more of a run coming on, but he's careful to check his back. The Primus Fighter in no hurry to get straight to him. So, again, fairly tense. The marshals and line marshals advised that should there be clinches which are inactive for 10 seconds, that means with no strikes and no clear movements, then of course they can be broken apart, as is stipulated in the rules of HMB Bohoods. So very close now. A lot of pressure being put on the fighters against the list. So what we need to do is pull them out. The problem is that it's a risk for the fighters as well. And there's a breakaway which has come through. Some good movement towards the team. The teammate, and there's a nice takedown that's come through from the Primus fighter. Primus with a big advantage now. So going into the middle, it will be an idea to try and get between them, separate them as they have done. But there's a lot of defensive work. And at this point, it's still fairly even. Primus, despite having the numbers advantage, they're labouring this a little bit too much, and you have to wonder if they're starting to tire. So what is split up. Okay, there's a nice movement there from the captain of Primus, but great footwork. He's charged back, and it could be very difficult to get out of this because he's got fighters on the ground. It might make it difficult to get up and get out of that, but he has got out of it. He's moved over them, so he want to get away from them as quickly as possible. The Primus fighter, however, has gone through the other side, so we're still looking to use those grounded fighters as a point from which to push them. Let's say another attempt at takedown, but some good evasive work from the ACG fighter. He does have certainly more energy than that Primus fighter himself. And there's a nice movement there, and that's a good takedown, which means the round goes to Primus. Well, that was hard fought at the end there, and I think both teams really started to feel a lot of the tiredness start to set in. Again, the conditions themselves are still favourable for fights. There's some sun, a little bit of cloud cover, and a nice wind, nice breeze to keep them cool. But in any case, at this point, yeah, people will start to get tired. So I think with Primus, they've certainly got the strength to them. The speed, however, they need a bit more of. They have to dedicate themselves a little bit too much to it. Underway again, Gloucester against Primus. And Gloucester, I kind of think that they'll go for something a bit more aggressive at the start of this fight. That is not so much the case. And they've got some good pressure down on Gloucester. Primus now starting to get around Gloucester. They're reading into their game a little more carefully now. There are two which are almost pushed out of the list. And they're really at 90 degrees then. That's a nice move, and there's some good communication going on between the fighters. But yet, the fighter's going down now, and the Gloucester fighter's got the upper hand on the Primus fighter. So two went down at the same time. Gloucester do have an advantage at this point. So taking Primus to a stretch there worked to their advantage. There's a nice charge coming through the Gloucester fighters. That's a big sweep there. But the hip toss didn't quite work, so it ends up in a grapple. And I think this is going to go on for some time unless anything breaks. Again, fighters once more going to full stretch, but they need to be careful that they don't get taken down as well. Primus certainly have the strength to keep up. So, Primus really going through a full stretch to get to these Gloucester fighters, but again, the evasive action of the Gloucester fighters has been very, very accurate. So it's all close at the moment. But the captain breaking away from that and not coming to anything. I think, again, the slow arrival is not going to help. That's a dangerous position to be in. But as they were both slow that time, so I think even the man chasing from Primus could have done a little bit better and capitalized on that, forcing the Gloucester fighter to make a decision prematurely as to where he put his energy. And again, this is one of the difficulties with the slow switches that some fighters adopt. So I think a break has been called. Well, that's a great takedown there. So that is down to 2 versus 1, which of course means they continue fighting. One of the Gloucester fighters has been put on his feet. I'm not sure why. What on earth is going on? Well, the Primus teammates don't seem happy about that at all. It doesn't seem entirely clear as to why, but I didn't see it. Maybe you got a better view than I did. More pressure coming down, but again, these Gloucester fighters are good at evasive action. However, it's now down to 2 versus 1. So Primus have an advantage here. This is the ACG captain. You've got both captains still on their feet. But that's a good takedown there. And the Primus fighter allowed to stay up with a new ruling. So that is a good round. Very, very close between Primus and Armoured Combat Gloucester. So we start again. In the next fight, Iska in green against ACG in the black and red. Already a fast start from both of them. Gloucester maybe holding back a bit. Does have a bit of energy there, but that's a great takedown. So Gloucester with an early advantage. And you got 2 have gone down at the same time. A double takedown means that Gloucester still have the advantage there. A nice clinch at the back. Again, a little bit more urgency in the step of the ACG fighter to get to his teammate, but they need a bit more than that. 2 have gone down at the same time. I felt it was a little bit clumsy on the part of the Iska, with all due respect. Really could have held that one, but of course he was in a difficult position, so it's easy for me to say that. That's a nice takedown there. So ACG with a good victory there from the still very aggressive Iska team. So looking for some faster changes as they are a little bit slow. They have been a little bit slow today. Of course, in Bohut League rules, there are penalties for taking time over it. As I was saying, yeah, I just had a word to the marshal to try and hurry things up a bit. The checks are taking a little bit of a long time. Yeah, I think it's one of these things where, quite simply, UK needs more certified marshals. I think with a solid team of marshals and these breaks, these pauses between fights, they're done with fairly rapidly. So we're getting underway with Iska versus ACG again. Again, two very aggressive teams. They seem to be lapped onto each other. It's a great takedown, but they are both down. Well, they really held on to that one. And that's one of their more rapid fighters. That's a great takedown. Big Musa, this is nice work. A slightly wasted chance there against the Gloucester fighter. This could have been up in numbers there. Again, very imprecise striking there, it has to be said, but that's a good takedown anyway. And they need to move quickly in order to help their teammate here. So that's a good aggression, but again, that is quite a slow movement from their teammate. That's 3 against 1. Therefore, the round is stopped. Round victory there for Iska. Oh, much better work there from Iska. And they'll be happy with the result of that. Again, you see a lot of lack of precision in their striking. They've got the positions. They're going the right side of the fighters, but they're not getting the rapid strikes and precise strikes in enough as they should. And I think that sort of thing is going to cost them when they do have these advantages, the numbers, when they've got the positions on their opponents. They've got to capitalize them more carefully. So they're going to have to spend some time studying to see where there are areas in which they can reach. But this does mean that we go to a third round of Iska against ACG. Once again, very evenly matched. And again, some people noticing gaps in armor and loose armor. These checks should really be done by the marshals, but at least the teammates are there to notice these things. And once again, it's the need for more marshals to notice these things first off. But of course, it is safety first, so these adjustments have to be taken care of before the fights can proceed. So both these teams have a lot of support from people here. And there comes an early charge, and you can see down one way that's going to cost the Iska fighter. Great movement, however, to avoid that charge coming in. However, it's going to be quite difficult from this point. Very good teamwork from Gloucester, keep his teammate up there in the middle. It's very, very tense now. Team to get the first takedown will benefit from it, and I think that was a mistake on the part of the ACG fighter. There's a double takedown on both sides of the list, and that's a nice takedown there. So Iska now with the upper hand. Again, this is good movement. They have to get to their teammates rapidly. Faster movement coming from the Gloucester fighters. And it goes straight to the corner, but this is good position for Iska to be in. They've certainly got a size advantage here. And he's lost a weapon. This is going to cost them badly. If Gloucester can capitalize on this, they will need to do it quickly. So some of them hooking onto the list. And now the bigger fighter choosing a halberd. And that might make a difference. So as long as they keep the strikes rapid, with the fighters held down, the Gloucester fighter managing to stay by the list. It's a very, very spirited fight. They're going to need to prize him away from that and not use too much of their energy. In the meantime, what they need to do is stretch out a little bit and move back, keep hold of one of the legs, strike for the parts of the armor, which is not doing it. And unfortunately, at this point, the Iska fighter is wasting a lot of energy. He needs to move back, pull right into the leg. The other leg is locked at the moment. So he needs to move out. Still from that, you can't see from this angle, but his legs are locked. So at this point, with one fighter locking the legs, and unfortunately he's broken away. So that is quite a waste for Iska. Gloucester managing to hold on to this. So this is good movement. Going right into the fighters. Great evasive movement from the Gloucester fighters. Well, there's a lot happening now in the corner. The strikes coming in from the halberdier, but they're going to need to prize the Gloucester fighters away. Fail to get a positive move from this, and there's a lot of weight coming down. It looks like they'll both go down together, which makes it 2 against 1. So the fight is still very much alive. And there's a takedown. So it means that Iska are the victors of this fight. Well, superb action.